We want to wrap up spend the next half hour or so relaxing a little bit. First, let me put this in context. What you've seen this morning is part of a week-long program. As I said, we have 21 leaders from 16 countries. And these leaders and the program that you've just witnessed are vibrant examples of what the Presidential Precinct is all about. The precinct was founded in recognition that you happen to be in the epicenter of the creation of America's oldest and the world's oldest living representative democracy. It was founded here. So 200 years ago, next year, Thomas Jefferson founded the University of Virginia. About 195 years ago, this building was built. It was built as a library. And if you look around, you'll see books in the bookcases. And on those days when Drew and Nancy and Larissa haven't taken over the room and done this stuff, it's actually still used as a library by the students of the University of Virginia. But these places, the University of Virginia and the other university partner in the precinct, the College of William and Mary, and the 4 historic sites that are involved in the precinct are all within about 30 miles of here, and they all are the core of what became the founding documents of our democracy. Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Madison wrote the U.S. Constitution. They collaborated with each other. All 3 of them, and I'll say this again at lunch, all 3 of them were right there down the lawn at what's Pavilion 7. 200 years ago, they stood over a ditch and watched as an enslaved laborer laid the cornerstone for this institution. Madison, Monroe, and Jefferson were all standing there that day, and they happened to be 3 of the 5 founding fathers of the United States of America. So we look at that as the place that inspired what we do at the precinct. But the precinct is also about ideas. Before I finish with place, I should note that we have some representatives here. You already saw President Ryan. Ambassador Mull was here earlier. He'll be with us at lunch. We also have with us Kat Imhoff, who just left the stage. We have Sarah Bon Harper from Highland is here. We have Stuart Gamage from Morven. She'll be up next. And so we have these marvelous institutions that have set the power of place. And then we use that place to speak of the power of ideas. And over the past 6 years, 5.5, 6 years since the precinct was founded, we've brought 600 visitors here from 140 countries to talk about these ideas, these basic ideas. We divide the curriculum, if you will, into kind of 6 areas of expertise: good governance, human rights and justice, women's empowerment, civic engagement, economic opportunity, and cultural heritage. And what we're hearing this week is the combination of 2 of those big ideas: economic empowerment, or women's empowerment, and economic opportunity. We combined those to create the program for the week. We have brought together the power of those ideas around the power of people. And what we hope is that our 21 visitors will return home, go back to your homes, and continue to work on these issues in your own way, in your own country, how to see what difference you can make, and then continue. And one of the beauties of the precinct, unlike many other kind of NGOs and other organizations in the world, is that it was built from the ground up by millennials. Don't look at me, look at Neil. It was built from the ground up by millennials as a digital platform. So we have a Presidential Precinct network that has some 12, 13,000 connections it's created. Every person that's been through a program here, every person that's participated in the Young African Leaders Program for 6 years is on that network. And we have a secure segment of that, the Presidential Precinct Network, where you can continue to talk to each other, talk to the people that you've met here. And you can do it, if necessary, privately. And the idea is you should be free to talk about what went on here, to talk about best ideas, to seek help, to collaborate, to work with each other. So remember somebody here, or seek somebody to meet through that platform. So we do not want this thing to end on Friday when you go home. This should not end Friday. This should not end in 20 years. I hope that there is somebody on that network that you're still communicating with digitally 20 years from now. I would like to offer a special thanks to Rick Goings again, to Tupperware Brands, to Lisa and the CFA Institute. Thank you, Lisa. And now, to close today's program, we have a real treat. We want to relax for a few minutes with the music of Vusi Malasela. Vusi is known as the voice of South Africa. He's a master of the African folk genre. He's performed at Nelson Mandela's inauguration. He holds 2 honorary doctorate degrees. He's toured the world. He's here today from Alaska. He's on his way to Canada and then on to Chicago and New York. He's performed with Dave Matthews Bands, with Paul Simon, with great names all over the world. And thanks to Ann Kingston and Red Light Management and our friends at Bama Works Fund, who, by the way, are supporters of the precinct, we have him here in Charlottesville with us today. So without further ado, Vusi.